all of our tracking needs. So chat, please be kind to them, and if you see something that was missed, kindly point it out to them.
Okay, so I think the race should be starting pretty soon here.
Ooh, the glove right off the bat there.
Ooh, early glove, that's nice. Of course, my restream went dark about right when the race started, so it seems to be a growing trend for me. I think this is the third commentary in a row where that's happened to me, but it looks like it's just a me exclusive issue this time. Okay, there we go. So, all right, looks like Xyrak and Unknownavailability. It looks like saitontea is really the only one going for the kind of quote-unquote standard uncle route, where you start at Link's house and immediately go down.
Y'all can hear me?
And we've got Teraunce checking out the back of Escape, having grabbed the gloves and some bombs.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. I kind of like that play though, because it's pretty good item density right off the bat. Although this time in particular, not having, you know, a ton of stuff. All right, so I didn't see whether Unknownavailability saw the item there. Oh, that's the lamp. Ooh.
Ooh, nice.
Very nice. Good early find, especially something interesting to note is that there was a small key in the back of Escape, so Xyrak, when he checks, or no, sorry, Unknown, when he checks back of Escape, he will actually be able to go to that middle chest that is usually really hard to route in. Nice, good amount of money for Xyrak early on in Lost Woods. That'll be nice to buy 10 bombs in Kakariko if he doesn't find any in chests.
So we're getting a check at the back of the tavern here from Unknownavailability.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of bombs.
Like, yeah, some bombs, which are really nice because that means you can pretty much clear out all of Kakariko without needing to buy bombs necessarily. If he can find some more, he might be able to just get away with not buying any bombs at all.
It's always nice to not have to do that. It's not a huge time loss, but it always is kind of inconvenient to have to buy bombs or use that little shed in the bottom left part of Kakariko, which I've done a couple times.
Yeah, I forget about that shed a lot more than I should. Sometimes I just straight up forget that exists until I see somebody use it, and I'm like, oh, that's right. Because it's like, ideally, it's not faster, but then in a situation where you have just one bomb and no money, it's as good as you're gonna get, and it's consistent, which is important. But here we're getting a... Oh, well, unfortunately... Looking like those flippers not really going to be trolling today.
No, my dream is dead already. But we also picked up the Moon Pearl, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that means we just need hammer and a glove or just Titan's Mitts, and we'll have pretty good Dark World access. Xyrak checking out that well, getting the validation arrow. Getting some more money. This is a pretty healthy seed in terms of money. Getting powder. Okay. No hammer in Kakariko, it looks like, or else I would definitely be thinking of thinking about that magic bat for sure.
Yeah, he's always one of those checks that if you can do it, you should, and because I often forget it if I have to do it a little bit later in the race.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those spots that's just out of the way, and it's a single item. It's just not something that's generally on your mind, you know? Especially in the late game when you have access to so many high-density areas. But you can make the routing work really well depending on your item setup.
Yeah, working it in with blacksmith and purple chest and things like that. It's
Yeah, exactly.
that works out well.
I think, you know, one of my favorite, like, trolley item locations would have to probably be Hammer at Magic Bat, because it means you've got to do the risk-reward thing of using Mirror in Dark World and giving up your Dark World portal in order to check Magic Bat. And if it's the Hammer, then that was the only way you could have done that.
And if that play pays off, then it's great. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, unless you have like boots or maybe even flute or something, because if not, then if it's not there, then you've got to walk all the way back to northwestern Kakariko and, you know, reactivate that portal. So it can be pretty bad depending on your item setup. Alright, so looks like Xyrak going to be picking up his lamp as well. The early game, for any of you who are new to Randomizer, who aren't used to watching races from the beginning, let's say, the early game is a lot of people retreading each other's footsteps, because it's really, at the beginning, you go to Kakariko. Like, that's just kind of all there is to it. It's so many items, it's immediately accessible. Like, going kind of anywhere other than Kakariko is just statistically not a very good idea. So, you know, there are various ways to get there from below or from above, Houlihan, Lost Woods, but the end result is always Kakariko.
Yeah, it's very unusual to see a runner go in a different direction right off the bat.
Yeah, I've seen I think it was Andy I've seen go like right to the dam before, which has been interesting. But yeah, looks like interesting. Unknownavailability looks like he is skipping out on South Shore, which is the kind of quote unquote traditional play after Kakariko. And opting to go right into Sahasrara, another pretty good high density area, but we'll see what he's got. Ooh, Palace of Darkness Green Pendant. So Unknownavailability knows that. Nobody else will know that until they get to Dark World. And the bingo! 3 big 20s in the back of Sahasrara's garage. Wow.
You really don't see that too often.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, so here's the play that I was talking about. Xyrak using a bomb to kill that rat, get the small key, and he is now going to check that middle chest. I don't remember who it was. I think it was it Teraunce who checked the back of escape immediately?
That's right, yes.
So yeah, if there's something really good here, like bow or anything like that, that could be huge. But a small shield. Fisher-Price shield, let's go.
Unknown is checking out the dam area.
Yeah, so I guess it's interesting. I guess he went to Sahasrara kind of intending to just go there and then immediately to the South Shore. Interesting play. Usually the way I would do that is just leave Sahasrara till later, because maybe you find bow in South Shore or something, and then you'll be able to beat Eastern Palace immediately. But it is still a pretty good high density play. Just going for as many items in as few minutes as possible.
It looks like we'll likely get a check in the mini Moldorm cave next as well. Kind of typical routing along the South Shore here.
Yeah, although... Oh, I think he realized a little bit too late that Unknown actually does not have enough bombs. He doesn't have a weapon right now to kill any of those mini Moldorms with. So the traditional play is bombs, using ideally 3 to 4 bombs to take out all 4 of those mini Moldorms. But Unknown does not have the bombs for that right now, so he'll have to maybe stop off at the shop right around the Lake Hylia ledge. That would probably be the fastest stop for bombs.
Scion's going to be giving us our first look at Zora here. So on the Zora ledge there, and not a whole lot, just a bomb upgrade. But maybe Zora himself will have something.
Yeah, or maybe he'll have a life lesson. But Xyrak with a really clean 3-bomb mini Moldorm cave with silver arrows. Ooh, always nice to see early. Ooh, and there's a sword and ether. Wow. Very good mini Moldorm cave right there.
And just a life lesson from Zora, unfortunately.
All right, so interesting. I'm just trying to think of what our runners have access to. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess, with what we've seen so far, I'm gonna say Death Mountain has progression. It could be Eastern Palace, but at this point it's either Eastern Death Mountain or this cave Xyrak is checking right now.
We shall soon find out.
Ooh, Cane of Samaria.
That's a nice find, but doesn't really help our runners at this point in the game.
Yeah, definitely. And if I were them right now, I would be kind of dreading finding that early game, because I would see that and I would be like, oh, that probably means Misery Mire and or Turtle Rock are required right now. So not the best thing to see early game. But we still don't know the pendant setup right now. I don't think our runners have done a map check yet. So I don't think we actually know what the crystal setup for Light World is either. We just know that green pendant is Palace of Darkness. Yeah, what is that, a 10% return on investment? Not a great return from Zora there. So, oh, that's interesting. Unknown has not checked Sanctuary at all yet. So he is getting his glove and probably going to rush right down into Escape.
So yeah, we are starting to run out of locations to check. It seems Death Mountain, I think, is a good call on your part there, Cranston. I think Eastern is also in play, and no one's checked there yet. And I always find that, like, in these kind of situations, like Agina's cave, like, somehow always has something.
Yeah, I actually, full disclosure, straight up forgot that place existed, because to me it's dead to me unless I have a reason to go to the desert area, like Book or Flute or something like that.
Yeah, I always try and put it off until and it's the last place to look. And then it's always the place that ends up having something you need.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, looks like we got a map check from Teraunce, so that's Eastern. Oh, and saitontea at the same time. So Desert is a 5/6. Hera is a normal crystal, and Eastern is a red pendant, I think I saw.
Yes, that is correct.
So, interesting. So we know that at least Mire or Turtle Rock are going to be in play. One of those two places. Because we only have one pendant left.
And we know that the two pendants that we do know about are both the dungeons that require the bow. So that puts it potentially out anywhere in the world to be used only in Ganon's Tower at the end there.
Yeah, that's, man, I've got some experience with Ganon's Tower bow. And let me tell you, it's exciting when it's there, but it's so stressful until
Getting our first look at Escape here, I think, with Scion finding the bottle. So Sick Kid comes into play at this point.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm just all sorts of out of it. I forgot about Escape too. I'm just, man. My memory's going, I guess. But definitely a good play from saitontea here, I think. Having that sword makes Escape very quick. And looks like we're going to see a similar play from Xyrak. Unknown finally getting his sword after stocking up on bombs. Man, last bomb too. So pretty tight on that one. All right, so here we're going to see Ball and Chain Guard from saitontea. Looks like maybe
Setting up a death warp, maybe?
I can't tell whether those were intentional hits or not. And just $20. I think they were intentional because yeah, he's gonna. I definitely don't blame him leaving himself with 2 hearts instead of the 1. I'm always really afraid of just accidentally dying. Oh no, the bottle had a fairy! Oh, that's the worst feeling ever. Oh man. I mean, he isn't missing out on much by not death warping to the middle, because it's just Fisher Price Shield, but he has no idea about that. So to him, that could be, you know, that could be flute or boots or anything. So he's probably going to go right back and check that. I definitely don't blame him.
Oh yeah, it's what's on your mind right now, so you're going to want to finish it off.
Exactly, because for me, especially, like, he probably counted his items. He probably knows, like, yeah, that is an item. And in that case, like, it kills you, you know, for the rest of the run. You're just like, oh my god, it's whatever progression I need at the current moment is totally there. Ooh, seeing some ether strats from Xyrak. I love this strat. Just freeze the guard and throw him at the ball and chain guard twice. When I remember that I have ether, it's such a good feeling.
That's really cool. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that before.
Yeah, I think my first time seeing it was in a tournament match. My opponent did it against me. It was really fun. All right, so
Unknown diving into Eastern Palace here, looking for something to move this seed forward.
Looks like he might have forgotten that first chest, but remembered to come back for it. A heart piece, so there are 2 items left in Eastern right now. So, interesting. At this point, it's kind of Sick Kid, Aguna, Eastern, or Death Mountain.
It seems like most of our runners want to hold off on heading up to Death Mountain, given that they're going to only have Old Man and the Spectacle Rock cave to check. Only 2 locations. It's a bit of a time sink.
Yeah, although, I mean, my mentality with going to early Death Mountain play is like, well, you're getting a save and quit point, so you're wasting some amount of time, sure, but you're not wasting a ton because you can just save and quit right back up there if you need to. Wasting like the amount of time that you would spend on a save and quit, you know?
Very true.
But I definitely, yeah, I don't blame anybody for trying to avoid that. All right, so looks like, yeah, Teraunce going up to escape now, and everybody else is in Eastern Palace. There's that big key. And we did, interesting to note, we did get that lamp. So that means the vanilla big key chest in Eastern Palace is 100% within the logic right now. And I didn't see the second chest there. I think that means the last 2 locations here are items?
Possibly.
I guess we'll see on Xyrak's side pretty soon. Because if that was a non-dungeon, or if that was a dungeon item, no, it was a heart piece. So this is a 50-50 on Unknown side. If there could totally be nothing.
Compass or an item is what we're gonna find here.
Yeah. So we'll be very interested to see which one we find. Ooh, nice damage boost from Unknown. The hammer! That's a big deal.
That is a huge deal.
That is a big item, man. Okay, so looks like that 50-50 worked out for him huge. Hammer, I don't think opens up any... Or, oh no, Dark World, duh. They already have a glove. So yeah, Dark World is completely accessible now. That is huge. So
it'll be really interesting to see where our runners decide to go in the Dark World, whether they go for the Village of Outcasts, Skull Woods side of things, or if they head down to the cave formerly known as Hype Cave.
Yeah, the cave formerly known as. I like that. Yeah, because that's the thing with something like Titan's Mitts. You have one place you can go for Dark World, and that is Thieves Town. That's the only Dark World access you get with Mitts. But with Hammer, you get, you know, outside of Palace of Darkness, you get what is it? You get Hype Cave, you get Kakariko, you get almost everything. So it's a pretty big deal, and it looks like Teraunce forgetting about that fairy as well. Unfortunate. So looks like Unknown is actually making the play up to Death Mountain.
This is interesting. Not being tempted by the Dark World access, perhaps, and going to clear out as much as they can.
Definitely. And I mean, like,
world.
It is always nice to get that save and quit point early, because now, for example, if he gets hookshot or something, he can just save and quit right to the Death Mountain area and just go to East Death Mountain instantly. Something like, say, Vanilla Mirror would be really huge here, because it would give him Hera access and all that sort of stuff. Ooh, getting unfortunately blocked by the squirrels. But there we go, Heart Container. So looks like we are seeing some Hype Cave hookshot. Oh man! So that's already a pretty hype cave. Less hype in the second half, but we'll say that hookshot was pretty hype.
I would say so too. Yes, very hype.
Because especially now, that gives them Hera access. They can now complete Hera. 100% guaranteed. Looks like we are getting a map check. I think that was Meyer Pendant.
Yes, and the other 5/6 crystal is Swamp Palace.
Swamp Palace. So interesting. Huh.
There's something in the Spectacle Rock Cave. What are we looking at here?
Sword. We are looking at a Master Sword. That is a pretty good find, honestly. Having that sword upgrade, it may not be like massive right now, but it's the difference between a required like Hammer Mothula and a Master Sword Mothula, which I prefer Master Sword over Hammer any day, because hashtag hitboxes. Seriously. And in the future, it could potentially be the difference between a Master Sword and a Tempered Sword going through there, depending on where the other swords end up being. So let's see. I did not catch what was on the pyramid.
Looked like it was maybe just an arrow upgrade.
Yeah. Seen on the main channel now. Only $20 at the digging game. Interesting to see the route divergence on Xyrak and Saiontea's side.
It's always hard to try and figure out when to go for a check like the catfish, but I guess Anne's thinking, let's just get this out of the way now, and if it's something, then it'll work out in my favor. If it's nothing, okay, whatever. Just
rip that band-aid off right now. Take that minute time loss right as soon as you can. But Pyramid and Catfish, two individual item locations that can really just eat up time. Honestly, it can... because it's so easy to leave them as the last possible item locations that if there's anything there, it can just cost you like 15, 20 plus minutes, depending on your item check or your check order. And half magic today, so Quakefish, not essential, but not bad, that's for sure.
Not bad, I'd take that.
I would say, like, yeah, maybe this wasn't, like, quote, the play, but I'm not upset that I did it, you know?
Yep.
Speaking of half magic, we have Xyrak checking the magic bat, and he gives a sword upgrade as well. So that is Master Sword. Oh my goodness, my voice. Master Sword on Xyrak's side. So... interesting. Unknown not going to be able to get his Tempered Sword because he doesn't have the mirror. Making his play up to Skullwood, so more route divergence here. As we see, Unknown is his first delve into Dark World is not Hype Cave, but Skullwoods.
And meanwhile, Scion with the hookshot in hand is making the Death Mountain play, going to be able to get over to the east side of Death Mountain as well.
Yeah, definitely like that play for sure. There's Cape on Unknown side. But yeah, definitely like that play just because it's a huge item density. It's a crystal that you guaranteed can beat right now, no matter what.
Yeah, definitely lots of upside to the Death Mountain play right now. Only thing better would be to maybe find the Titan Mitt so you can full clear that dark east side.
Oh, interesting. Unknownavailability with the knowledge, knowing that there is a bomb over there. I did not even know that bomb existed, so good on him. Opting to take the vanilla strat for the big chest. Which, you know, if you're not comfortable with the bomb jump, vanilla location is not too big a deal, and Quake. So that is 2 of 3 medallions already. That's a nice find.
It's always nice to have medallions in hand, so you don't have to wonder whether or not you have access to Turtle Rock or Misery Mire at any given time.
Exactly. It's nice to be able, like, at this point, I would feel comfortable, like, if I'm in a situation where it's, you know, advantageous to open Turtle Rock and try and go in if I can. You know, I would feel comfortable with 2 medallions in hand, but it's always nice to have that, you know, that third one for just peace of mind, knowing that you're not wasting any time going up there. All right, so Xyrak looks like he is just clearing out Village of Outcasts right now. Nothing notable over there. While saitontea is about to head into a really high-density area right here. 7 items in this cave. Really exciting for me anytime I come in here. I'm like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah, and lately, odds of finding something seem kind of high in this, the Paradox Cave, as it were.
Truth be told, I don't know why it's called the Paradox Cave.
It's something to do with dropping down in that hole there. The exit of the hole that you once you fall down.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Wow.
Oh my god. Titan's mitts in the Paradox Cave. Oh my god. So that means saitontea now gets to go beat Hera and then instantly drop back down through Spiral Cave and do Dark World East Death Mountain, including Hookshot Cave. Oh my god, that's huge. And apparently, in Thieves Town, we have Bombo, so we already know the location of all three medallions.
So Sion's going to be heading into Tower of Hera. We have 2 possible items to be found in here.
Yeah, and you always, honestly, I'm of the mindset that it's like, I want 2 things to be in the basement, either the big key or nothing. Because if I'm going to make the basement play, I want everybody to make the basement play. I want it to be required.
Yep.
But unfortunately, no big key today, so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening for the rest of it. So Compass in the other chest, but he is able to make his way up. It will be interesting to see whether he decides to go to basement if there ends up being an item there.
I personally hate leaving the Hera basement unchecked. If
Same.
It's got an item in there, I have to check it out.
Exactly. Despite my reputation from the recent tournament, I do not like leaving items behind. I like to play very safe if I can. Okay, so that confirms it. I think there is guaranteed now an item
Yes,
in
there'll
basement.
one here or the small key, and then vice versa on Moldorm. Oh, unfortunately, missing that bomb jump.
That is why I personally, if I don't have boots, I do not go for that bomb jump. And I think he can do this with Kane. Yeah, okay. Thankfully, not panicking or anything like that. But yeah, that's why.
Oh, that bomb jump! It's one of the ones I'm scared to even attempt it.
Yeah, it definitely. If I have boots, I'll definitely go for it. But if you don't have boots, like I personally, I'll eat the time loss of doing a hook shot and just, you know, falling into the pit immediately, as opposed to going for that bomb jump. Like, yeah, it's ideally faster, but if not, you're just gonna have to go all the way back up. And if I don't have hook shot, I don't even. Oh my goodness! I've got to interrupt myself. The D. We got the bow on Xyrak's side.
Wow.
We have become D. Oh my god. So that is also really big. No bow in Ganon's tower. There's just so many items all over the place right now. There isn't really like... So far, it's hard to nail down like an ideal play because there's so much value just everywhere you look.
It'll be interesting to see if it sends our runners in different directions, given that they've found different key items.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, and Xyrak demonstrating why I personally really hate having sword beams for blind. It's easy to accidentally just hit him with the sword beam or something too early. And the red shield, okay. So that is Thieves Town full cleared. We got a Bombos and bow in Thieves Town. And first crystal by Xyrak.
Scion, unfortunately, feeling the wrath of Trolldorm there, getting knocked off, but up for round 2 here.
Oh my god, that RNG! There was just nothing he could have done there. Oh man. Oh, putting the troll in Trolldorm, really. Alright, so also Teraunce making his way into Dark World, doing the same play as Unknown, doing the Skullwoods first play. Alright, and saitontea getting his first crystal shortly after Xyrak. Or, was it Xyrak?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was, okay. Oh yeah, and they did get those early silvers.
We're seeing some more ether strats here. Teraunce vaporizing everything in the Skullwoods there.
Yeah, don't blame him. That room is not great. Takes a lot of practice, that's for sure. Alright, and Unknown with his Cane of Burna at the ready. Ooh, okay. Okay, nice. Taken down blind.
And Scion's going to be showing us what is in the Hera basement soon enough.
Yeah, again, one of those item locations that it's just like, if it's me, I'm gonna check it. It's just a 1 minute time loss I will guaranteed eat in any dungeon, or any run, really. I hate leaving that item location behind. And it looks like that is the third shield, so saitontea guaranteed getting his mirror shield, unfortunately. Oh, interesting. Looking like Unknownavailability jumped into Thieves Town without actually doing a map check. So, looks like he's happy that that was Crystal. That's for sure.
So where do we think Xyrak is going next here? With the hookshot, probably going to be making the Death Mountain Hera play.
Yeah, I would expect the Death Mountain Hera play with Thief's Town Crystal in hand. That is definitely. I mean, he's pretty much cleared everything except Pod, which is beatable actually. Notably, Eastern Palace does not have any items left in it, so that is not a useful location. So Bo could potentially be pointing them towards that Palace of Darkness for next step of progression. Maybe a mirror or a fire rod or something.
Yeah, there's usually a bit of value in there. What, 5 items can be found in there? So, you know, not a bad bet.
All right, saitontea gonna be now making his way probably down into Dark World.
Scion instead going up and using the Turtle Rock. It looks.
Oh,
we'll get a look and
see
which medallion we're gonna need, and
yeah, interesting play. Like I said, if I've got 2 or 3, you know, I don't necessarily mind taking this risk, but man, it's always scary when you've got just 1. But we'll see. We'll see. This could very well play out for him, because opening it this early could be really nice. But no, it is Bombos, so Thief's Town had the answer. Xyrak picking up his Tempered Sword now. I believe first to Tempered. Oh,
that'll
nice.
come in handy for sure.
Going for the bomb jump, trying to get back over here.
It's not much room for error on this one.
Yeah, but a really nice bomb jump to know, just because it does save you the extra screen transitions. Looks like saitontea. Ooh, unfortunately, bailing before that last chest. I have done that before. It's not a great feeling.
Get our first look at Spike Cave as well right now.
Ooh, yeah, because they do have Cane of Burna. So the logic requires, I think it's what? Cape and either half magic or bottle, like together, or just the Cane of Burna in order to progress through Spike Cave.
Yes, that sounds right.
So, unfortunately, nothing much today, just some bombs. So yeah, Dark World East Death Mountain, or Dark World Death Mountain in general, just really not a lot of value there. But yeah, we'll be very interested to see whether Xyrak tries to chooses to open Turtle Rock and go in without a fire rod.
Could be 1, 2, maybe two or 3 chests they could get to, depending on how the keys all fall.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the key situation, you can either get stopped at the first chest, or you can go all the way down to Laser Bridge. It completely depends on the key setup. Because if what is it? I think you need the lower left chest to be small key, and then you need Chain Chomp Room to be small key, and then you need Vanilla Big Key location to be Vanilla Big Key. And then you can go all the way to Laser Bridge before you get stopped without Fire Rod. Alright, so it looks like Teraunce is, he went and checked the Bumper Cave, found a full heart container there, so he's going to opt for a little bit of extra safety, and he is going to go ahead and pick up that heart container.
Not a bad play, considering that all of our runners are still on green tunic, and if you're not that comfortable with your execution, then any heart pickup is worthwhile.
Absolutely. Full heart containers are definitely, you know, they're one of those items where I'm like, you know what? I am never upset to see a full heart container. Ooh, but unfortunately for Teraunce, not quite enough to save him from the ever-dreaded pterodactyl. That enemy. It's no squirrel, but man, do I not like it.
I think there's a reason why everyone calls them murder dactyls. They claim many lives in Hyrule.
Oh, interesting. Unknown has not checked escape up to this point, so he's going to be making his first check of escape right here. The front half.
So, seeing as our runners are kind of retracing each other's steps right now, we got to think about like where could they go next. And I mean, Palace of Darkness is looking like it might be something of value at this point, based on the items that we're seeing here.
You know what? I'm gonna be mean, and I'm calling progression in. I'm having a tough time as to which dastardly location I want to wish on them. I'm gonna say that Bombos being Turtle Rock is a red herring, and that Fire Rod is an Ice Palace. I'm gonna say that Bombo actually is pointing them towards Ice Palace, and they're just about to get jebaited into Turtle Rock.
Whoa, that'd be pretty rough.
Because we did have those early flippers. I don't think flippers have really led to anything so far.
So far, no, they have not.
Yeah, Xyrak with that tempered sword making quick work of Trolldorm. But yeah, we'll see. That definitely. I mean, and the other super terrible troll location for them would be something like Fire Rod in Turtle Rock, leading to Ice Rod in, like, back of... Well, no, Skullwoods is already full cleared. So maybe in, like, Ice Palace, I guess.
And making the dive into Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod is something that not a lot of runners want to do, you know? It's just... That doesn't seem like a good option until you have no other options left.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where it can range from, well, at least the entrance is open, to like, oh my god, I just wasted like half a year on this. Because, you know, if you get stopped at the first chest, it's like, well, yeah, this is an unnecessary double dip, but I wasted like a minute. Versus if you go to Laser Bridge and there is no progression, or worse, progression in Mimic Cave and you don't have the mirror, then, yeah, that can be some real bad times. And no, there has not been a pedestal check yet. Answering a question in chat, there's been no ped check yet because no one has book. So, would be interesting to see if this is one of those awful... Oh, and speaking of awful, actually, Xyrak with that mirror shield. Worst item in the game.
I think you have to explain why that might be the worst item in the game.
So basically the thing about the mirror shield is if you either have an invincibility item or you're proficient at laser skip, mirror shield helps you in like exactly one room in the game, that being Laser Bridge. And it adds a ton of lag in other rooms. So it is just like, depending on your comfort level with laser skip, it is literally useless and only actively harms you. Like
I had heard about the it's causing lag in places. I didn't realize it was like so bad. In fact,
it's not like atrocious, but it's mostly noticeable in places like Ganon's Tower, where you've got so much stuff on the screen at a time, so many sprites. And so, like, for example, I noticed like mimics can cause a ton of lag in the mimics rooms. Just overall not a fun time in my opinion.
Got it, got it.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize this. Unknown never checked the ice rod cave. So Unknown actually not having the cane in order to go up to Turtle Rock. That could range from not too big a deal to absolutely like game changing for him if there ends up being progression in Turtle Rock right now.
And having not checked Ice Cave now, it's going to be one of those things that might fall out of their mind for a long time, and they might not go there until much later in the game.
And with Misery Mire being a pendant, a lot of times some runners will skip Ice Rod Cave and leave it until they get maybe Boots and something like, say, Boots and Flute. And if Flute ends up being in Ganon's Tower because Mire isn't a required dungeon, then that could just leave it till like last possible check kind of territory, which could be really damaging for Unknown. We'll see how that pans out later.
Also, we've got an awesome sync going on here between Teraunce and saitontea going through Thieves Town.
Oh yeah, interesting, man. Both of them opting to kind of more or less clear out this room just to be safe. Don't blame them. With green mail, if you're like, everything in here does 2 hearts of damage, so if you're not comfortable, it can cost a lot. Man, I love that bunny sprite on Teraunce's side. That Pokeball, by the way, haven't said this yet, but huge shout outs to all of the people who make the custom sprites that you're seeing on the screen here. Unfortunately, I don't know the sprite creators off the top of my head, but massive props to just everyone who makes custom sprites for this game. It makes running the game, you know, it's a small detail, but man, it makes it feel so much more fresh to not just have to see the same old Link face every single time. So specifically, just to point it out, saitontea is running the vanilla Link sprite, Xyrak using that Moogle sprite, the Mog sprite, Unknown using Frog, and Teraunce using Decidueye from the Pokemon game. So yeah, shoutouts again. I feel like
I think we're up to around what, 70 different sprites or something like that. It's a ton, yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, you can run this game as Purple Chest. You can run this game as a freaking can of Sprite. You can run this game as a floating spinning tile from the Hera tile room. It's incredible. I love it. I feel like I just wanted to bring attention to that because I really just feel like the custom sprite makers just don't get enough love these days. So
it's one of those parts of the community that you might not think about right away, but I mean, all that work that they are putting in behind the scenes is super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of super cool, Xyrak with that Ice Palace play, that was a pun and I did not mean it to be. Oh my god.
Well done, well done.
Oh man. All right, so when's the baby? I should be a dad. Wow. Anyway, Xyrak with that Ice Palace play. Getting the big key to start, so... Ice Palace is a really interesting dungeon to see people route. Because there are so many different variations that you can do. There are a million different bomb jumps and setups for bomb jumps, so... Oh, Xyrak forgetting to place that first bomb. But remembering in the end. Looking like he's probably going to be going for the Ice Palace bomb jump. For anyone who's not familiar, there is a bomb jump coming up here that completely breaks Ice Palace wide open. It just makes, you know, makes the item placement logic kind of a suggestion more than anything. Small keys no longer really required. But
Yeah, there are a lot of little strats that you can use in the randomizer here, but this is kind of one of the ones that if you can get this down, it can save you a ton of time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially, I mean, there's when you have all of the items you need to beat the game, it is called Go Mode, and Go Mode Ice Palace is really, really fast, but it's also only possible because of the Ice Palace bomb jump. So that's usually like my #1 trick that I would point to for people learning as far as like what is an important sequence break to learn. Ice Palace bomb jump, 100%.
It also looks really cool, so yeah.
Oh yeah. And so Xyrak going for these 2 Freezors, getting a map, opting, looking like to do a bomb jump. This is another one of those things where there are a million setups for this particular bomb jump. Like, this is not the setup I use. I've seen at least 3 other setups for this bomb jump. But they all work, and they all just save you a couple of screen transitions. Going upstairs, falling into the room above that. And coming over here to check right side.
I think Scion is going to give us our first Sick Kid check, and it's also
no. I think
oh,
I'm pretty sure someone's checked Sick Kid before, because I knew that was $20. Right. It might have been Xyrak before going into Dark World or something.
Well, it's got to be the first blacksmith check that we're seeing.
Yes, definitely is. Xyrak, I think, finding his first item here in Ice Palace, just an arrow upgrade. And a second arrow upgrade. That's 2 out of 3. Not looking great on that Ice Palace play, but the bright side is they have a crystal. Worst case scenario, they get a crystal at the end of all of this. And Heart Piece. So Ice Palace, a little bit of a bust. Not really any value, but hey, at least he's getting a crystal out of the deal. So that's going to be his 3rd crystal once he beats down Cold Stare.
So that kind of leaves either a weird dive into Turtle Rock or maybe a more kind of standard look into Pod, even though it's the green pendant. It's looking a little better. Have some kind of progression item.
Yeah, definitely. Also, something to note is that Xyrak is in here with Tempered Sword. Unknownavailability having Master Sword. The Cold Stare fight going to be considerably more difficult and demanding because it's just a huge difference in the number of hits it takes.
Yeah, I always find that Master Sword Cold Stare is a bit of a nail biter.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those fights that either goes really well or really terrible. Speaking of, that's actually just Cold Stare in general. You miss that first spin to get Cold Stare into the corner. It can be kind of sketchy, especially with Green Mail on everybody's side. But Xyrak pulling that out, not too bad at all. Getting his 3rd crystal 53 minutes in. That is not bad pace, honestly, for this version of the logic.
No, seems pretty good so far, yeah.
Yeah, so far, really, like, nothing to complain about in terms of, like, nothing, like, quote-unquote trolly so far. They're pretty close to go mode at this point. Only being, I think, 3 items off?
Yeah, we need both rods.
And no, 4.
The mirror.
Yeah,
and then flute or book, right?
Exactly, yeah. So both rods, mirror, and then flute or book. One or the other for Desert Palace access. So, all right, and I think this might be our first Aguna check on Saiontea's side. Routed that in with the purple chest, which I did not actually see what purple chest or Smith had. But because chat didn't go nuts, I think it wasn't that important. And just $20.
So Teraunce is actually first into Palace of Darkness here. This will be kind of interesting to see.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. It is beatable, and it is green pendant, so definitely not a bad check. It's good item density, 6 items.
And the first item was the Ice Rod. We just missed that one.
Ooh, I did not catch that. That is huge. So that means Palace of Darkness, Pendant Pod, required dip. So looking like Xyrak's going to be going in there too. While saitontea is following behind Xyrak and Unknown, checking that Ice Palace.
It's too bad that Teraunce found the Ice Rod first here, because that really doesn't help progression in any kind of way. It was one of our go mode items, but doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot.
Exactly. I mean, it's a nice item to have, because then, you know, I was calling the Ice Rod troll because that's the safe play, or safe call. But yeah, it looks like interesting. I'm trying to think of what could really, like, quote unquote troll them at this point. Like, really kind of only Fire Rod, I think. Or maybe Mirror? But I think, yeah, at this point, they've checked a lot of what's available. So there's really just Palace of Darkness and that early bit of Turtle Rock left. If I'm remembering right. Could be
I think you got that right, yeah. That red beetle giving Teraunce a hard time there. They've got so much life, and when you've got Master Sword, you just keep swinging forever and don't seem to make any dent on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Master Sword really doesn't live up to its name, if I'm being honest. It's probably my least favorite sword in the game, even including Fighter Sword, just because at least Fighter Sword is a significant upgrade over not having a sword. But Master Sword gives you what? Beams, which lag the room and do 1 damage, and a little bit of extra length, and that's kind of it. It's not that useful otherwise. Oh yeah, and Unknownavailability, not having the cane. So unfortunately, he had to skip out on Ice Palace Bomb Jump because he was low on health. So he is having to kind of figure his way out vanilla right now. Which, I don't know if I could do this dungeon vanilla these days. I'm so used to just Ice Palace Bomb Jump routing.
Yeah, it is surprising when you try and vanilla clear Ice Palace these days, for sure, if you've been playing Randomizer nonstop.
Yeah, because it's just like, what am I supposed to do? What do you expect from me, game developers? What do you want from me? So I think so far there hasn't really been much in Palace of Darkness besides that Ice Rod.
Just 10 arrows in that chest there for Teraunce. The compass. So all kind of boring stuff so far here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. As we progress further and further, it's looking more and more likely that that we could see some Fire Rod action in Turtle Rock. It could happen.
The dream is still alive.
I was just waiting for one of those chests on Terrance's side to be Fire Rod.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah, that would have just been perfect timing.
He was dead. I wish. I always want that, even if it doesn't work in my favor. Ooh, Unknown, did Unknown take a death? I must have missed it.
I thought they were further in, yeah, and now it seems like we're kind of back at the start. Unless routing it kind of differently, well, there's a death there.
Yeah, I wonder, huh. Possible he maybe saved and quit and started again so he could ice bounce.
Or no, you push that block up to get back into one of that penguin room.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so he's just going around and totally missed it. Xyrak with them booties. What are those? We got boots.
What are those?
Those are hands down the best item in the game. Just bar none.
Yep. And with those, we've got 2 new locations opening up there with the Bonk Rocks and the King's Tomb. So potential spots for some of our progression items to be found.
And it also guarantees now that Desert is 100% beatable. No need to worry about Big Key on the ledge anymore. Yeah, looking like Xyrak choosing to, oh, maybe? Oh, he's, okay. Oof, just making it in time there. So yeah, looks like Xyrak is choosing to go beat Helmasaur for that green pendant. This is definitely like kind of a make or break situation where it's like you kind of, you know, you have Ice Rod and you have Boots out of here. Do you want to risk spending the time on Helmasaur for potentially nothing? But
it's a tough call to make, but it looks like both Xyrak and Teraunce are going for the full clear here.
Yeah, which, you know, can't blame them.
You've already put that much time into the Palace of Darkness, you might as well just take the extra minute or 2 to finish it off.
Yeah, definitely. And so we are seeing some hammer strats on Unknown's side. With that Master Sword, Hammer is going to be his best source of damage. The problem with Hammer... Oh, does he have a fairy? Oh, he does not! Oh, no!
That is one of the worst deaths to take. It's such a huge loss of time. Oh, that sucks.
That's so frustrating to happen. Oh, man. I think he's just contemplating to himself, is it even worth going back there right now? He does have it full cleared already in terms of items, so I bet he's going to wait until he gets his Tempered Sword. And then he's going to make his way back over there later once he's better equipped.
Yeah.
Or maybe Fire Rod. He did have half magic, and if he had Fire Rod, he would have been, you know, just fine. Able to just spam the Fire Rod, but yeah, unfortunate. Meanwhile, Xyrak making quick work of Helmasaur. Silver arrows, 1 in the jewel. And he gets his big 20.
And without the mirror, unfortunately, won't be able to quickly turn that pendant into Sahasrara.
Yeah. Although with the boots, that's not, you know, it's not going to take him a lifetime at least. Oh, interesting. Oh, he hasn't checked Catfish. So maybe he's going to make a Pyramid to Catfish play right here? I feel like that.
Yeah, I guess just thinking about when you might want to do those, I guess this is kind of your best bet, so you can just clear off all of East Dark World here.
Yeah, I'm personally in the camp where if there's an item in Catfish, I'm probably just gonna lose the race. Like it's one of those locations that I just kind of write off, and I'm just like, you know what, this will probably be my last possible check. 100% of the runs. And if it's if there's something here, oops. If there isn't, yay, I saved a couple minutes.
Totally, totally. It'll be interesting to see where our unknown decides to go next. Probably a little bit tilted after the death to cold stare there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard. It's so hard to stay level-headed when something like that happens. And you know, in the case of a Master Sword cold stare, like it's so easy for that to happen, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a really tough fight, even with Tempered Sword. Like, if you've got Green Mail, Cold Stare is scary, kind of no matter what your setup is, unless you, like, maybe you've got Butter and you're really comfortable with it. But, like,
yeah.
It's a scary fight in general. But, yeah, it looks like Unknown checking those hammer pegs. Maybe trying to fish around for a sword upgrade. And Xyrak checking King's Tomb, not finding much.
So we're getting, it seems, closer and closer to the Turtle Rock play at this point.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see when Xyrak turns in that green pendant. Because I feel like for me it would just be, at this point, it's kind of just green pendant or Turtle Rock right now. I think
that's pretty much it. I don't know if has Xyrak done the
Smith sequence.
Smith and yeah.
I don't think he has. I think saitontea is the only person who has. And if I'm not mistaken, did he get a sword out of that?
Yes, a sword somewhere in that little sequence of checks.
Yeah, I think so, because he ended up with a tempered sword out of that, and I don't think he got wherever Xyrak got tempered. I don't think he had gotten that. I guess we'll see soon enough, because Unknownavailability going into turn in the Smith.
Sword upgrade was on the bat there, apparently.
Oh, was it the bat? Really? Oh, that's right, the bat. I forgot about that. Yeah, so I guess that there's Unknownavailability is tempered. So we actually, in that case, we don't know where Butter is.
Not yet.
Okay, so with that, all three of our runners now with Tempered Sword. Unknown. Oh, he hasn't done Tower of Hera. Interesting. So it looks like he got his Titan's Mitts from Paradox Cave and then went right to Dark World and didn't bother going to Tower of Hera. So he's about to make his way over there right now.
That can easily happen once you get an item that kind of changes your thinking about your routing. You just forget what you were going to be doing next. Like, probably thought, I'll go up and do Tower of Hera, picked up the Titan's Mitt, and then thought, okay, I'm going to go check all the Dark World places I can now.
Yeah, and then potentially, if you're someone like me, immediately remembered as soon as you walked into the portal, oh no, I don't have mirror. That was bad.
Yup.
It's so easy to do when you get something, especially like Titan's Mitts in Paradox Cave. It's so easy to just get kind of absorbed by that. Although, interestingly, Unknown checking Spiral Cave before doing Hera, I guess? Did I say 3? Did I say all 3? I was looking at the number next to Tempered Sword. I saw the number, it said 3. And so then I said all 3. Okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not excluding anyone. I'm just really bad at keeping my thoughts straight. I did. Well, I apologize to our 4 runners. There are 4 of them. I took calculus. I have a college degree.
So after Xyrak drops off purple chest here, probably gonna turn in the pendant before doing the Turtle Rock play.
I guess so. It's interesting that he's held off so long on it, just because it is such a huge time sink to beat Helmasaur in the first place. That usually I'm just like, okay, I just spent all that time in there. I want to just turn that in as quickly as possible. But I'm sure there are examples where I haven't done that as well. So it would be very interesting to see if he decided to go to Turtle Rock before turning in the pendant.
It would, yeah.
Because, yeah, at this point, essentially we're looking at progression at Sahasrara or Turtle Rock. So anybody who went into Turtle Rock early on would have been in a huge, like, in a good spot depending on the progression. If it was Fire Rod, not so great. If it's Flute or Mirror, then yeah, that's pretty good. Because then it's a required double dip into Turtle Rock anyway. Alright, so let's see. What was the answer? It was Palace of Darkness. Green pendant required. Wow. Okay, so that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pendant pod into Fire Rod. Not great. Let's see. Getting a question. What can be on pedestal? I guess book and mirror could be on pedestal.
Yeah, that's gonna be it, I think.
I think those are the only 2 items, because, like, if Flute is our desert access, like, Flute can't be on Ped. But yeah, Mirror is required for Swamp, but not for Pendant. But at this point, I'm feeling like Ped is not super likely, because everything's pointing us towards Turtle Rock, which has 5 items in it. So I'm feeling like you're gonna get at least 1 progression item out of it. But I suppose we'll find out soon enough as Xyrak makes his first entry into Turtle Rock. Ooh, Scooby D with the very evil prediction of Mirror on Trinex, Book in Mimic Cave. That's never what you want to see.
I don't think it could be any worse than that.
Yeah, pretty much. Because the thing about, if you find Mirror on, let's say, Laser Bridge, you can mirror out to where Mimic Cave is and check that. But if you find Mirror on Trinex, then you get teleported to the beginning, so you either need to go all the way back to Mimic Cave, or you just need to get jebaited into every single mirror lock spot in the game until you finally come back to Turtle Rock about 20 or 30 minutes later.
Yep.
Ooh,
and there's the flute.
All right, so, ooh, very nice swag cane dash strats. So yeah, we got our flute, so that's pointing us towards desert or potentially mire. Actually, no, not desert. We need mirror first.
But yeah, definitely the play towards Mire then. You've got the Mire Shed for 2 items, and then jumping into the dungeon itself for potentially another 2 items.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although Mire, out of all pendant dungeons, Mire is not the best.
No, it's not a good option. I mean, if it's the last thing on your list, then go for it, of course. But you don't want to make that play early.
Yeah, like, I mean, there are situations where I'll be like, okay, I'll go into Pendant Mire, and that's situations like, oh, I got, you know, Ether in Link's house, and I only have Ether, and I have access to that and kind of not much else or something. Like, I can either double dip a pendant or beat Mire, and so I'll be like, okay, I'll beat Mire, but otherwise, it's never a wonderful play to me just because of how low, you know, I say item density a lot, but man, that is a huge time commitment for just 2 items.
Yeah, definitely. And we also picked up the mushroom here in Turtle Rock, so that is a fetch quest item. There's one more potential spot for our runners to check.
Yes, indeed. And they already do have powder, so I see you typing, chat. Don't talk about fake powder. They already did it. All right, so looks like Unknown making the play into Palace of Darkness, probably. Gonna get his boots.
Hopefully after getting those boots makes the play over to the Ice Rod Cave. Needs to pick up that Canis Amaria still. Oh.
Oh, that's gonna be rough because, yeah, like I said, you know, Flute is not... You know, like a lot of runners will wait until they have Flute and boots to check Ice Rod Cave, and unfortunately, with Flute inside Turtle Rock, is really not on the table. So,
out of Turtle Rock because they don't have the Fire Rod yet. Didn't turn in the green pendant first.
Ooh, yeah. Interesting. Ah, that is interesting. I see saitontea look like he is going to be doing Spike Cave down here. We got that bloomerang, that hot, fresh bloomerang. And see here, like, you can see Xyrak has the mirror shield. He's not even using it because laser skip is faster. So the mirror shield is a literal useless item to him right now. But picking up that blue mail, which is never a bad thing to see in my opinion.
Very nice. That'll be a nice safety for all of our runners to pick up.
Absolutely. So...
Especially nice to be picking it up just before heading into a fight against Teraunce. It'll help cut down on the damage there.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, something to note at this point is that Xyrak is only 1 item off go mode right now. He needs the mirror, and that is it. If he finds mirror on Teraunce, so that eliminates Mimic Cave right now. No progression there. So looking like all right. So that is. I was about to say Teraunce down, but there is technically 1 more phase to go.
We're almost there.
Oh yeah, it's pretty quick phase. So unfortunately, yes, saitontea stocking up on some blue goos, but only getting 20 bucks off of off the witch there. So I wonder if he's now gonna go pick up his fire rod.
Probably not going to have that many locations left to check, so we'll probably turn in that pendant sooner rather than later.
Yeah, most likely. But interestingly, not opting to do so?
Where are you going, Scion? Where?
I'm trying to think of what he could check up here. Because I think he's already done all of East Death Mountain and everything like that. Did he maybe... Was he able to go farther into Turtle Rock than he went and he just peaced out?
I don't think so. I think the mushroom was in the chain chomp room, so...
Yeah, and so
yeah.
he... Where is he going? I wonder if he's just double checking that he has... That he's used up his small keys?
Oh,
or
no.
Something? That's, I don't know.
I guess, yeah.
Or did he not check, like, Hookshot Cave and stuff? No, he's going back into Turtle Rock. He hasn't turned in the pendant yet. But, oh, there it is. Yep, there it is. I guess he must have either thought he had a small key left or just double checking that he had a small key left. All right, and Xyrak getting a quick check with that flute activated now. And now, I guess, yeah, Meyer is the play here. But, it's interesting to wonder, like, when do you route Skull Woods into this? You know, you've gotten both items out of Skull, but you've got Tempered Sword and Half Magic and Boots, so it's like, Skull Woods is never going to be faster.
Yeah, I guess if you, like, are still looking for the book or the mirror and you're just trying to kill some time while you think, then you might go for it then.
Yeah. But, well, there we go. Just kidding. With that, Xyrak he's in Go mode. Go mode's a thing. It's good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is exciting.
But for real though, that is a quick Go mode right there. Man. I mean, quick being relative. Like, 121 is not necessarily like a quote-unquote jet seed, but it's, you know, is definitely, like, there haven't been a ton of, like, you know, trolls set, you know, in front of our runners, really, at this point.
True. With the 3 crystal Desert Palace, Skullwoods, and Swamp Palace, all really quick Go mode dungeons, so that'll be real nice.
Especially with the big key on the torch there. Like, you saw Xyrak, he just got the big key and pieced out, because that's all you need. So if you find it right there, yeah, that's that makes Desert really nice and fast. And then Swamp Palace, like, the nice thing about Mirror Go mode is that Swamp Palace, you guaranteed just get to rush the back, and Go mode Swamp is pretty quick, honestly.
Yeah, I think you can do it in maybe about, like, 3 to 4 minutes or so versus a full clear, which is going to run you, like, 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even more than that. I don't know. I should probably time it out, but yeah, like, full clearing, especially left side, having to full clear left side versus just Go moding right to the back is just, yeah. I mean, and especially, you know, it depends on Xyrak's comfort level with endgame stuff, but, you know, I think most people would say 15 hearts, blue mail, silvers, and tempered sword, like, and powder, some bottles, like, that's pretty safe. Like, I would not be surprised if Xyrak just doesn't check a single chest for the rest of the game.
No, yeah, it would surprise me as well, given what he's got in his arsenal there.
All right, so that is Desert down. Crystal number 5 in the bag for Xyrak. I would guess probably Swamp next. Yeah. Swamp, and then just getting, then gonna get Skullwoods out of the way. just right at the end there.
I feel like I would probably do it the same way.
Yeah, I think like pretty much a lot of the routing, the only thing I think I would have done differently than Xyrak at this point is like, I probably would have been like, if I'm being totally honest, I probably would have been jebaited hard into Turtle Rock without Fire Rod or Ice Rod.
It always feels like, yeah, Turtle Rock is hiding something, and as soon as you get a chance to jump in there, you're like, oh, okay, I probably should.
Yeah, like it's crazy, like, you know, if Flute was Chain Chomps instead of the right side, you know, that would have changed the routing entirely. You know, because then you could have gone into Mire or something looking for Fire Rod, but because of the way it was kind of locked up, like, there wasn't a lot of other ways that this could have gone for Xyrak.
So Unknown's gonna finish off Palace of Darkness soon enough here, picking up Green Pendant, which will get them... Oh shoot, I've just forgotten what it was.
Fire Rod.
Fire Rod? Yep. I wonder if what they're gonna do. They're still missing that Canis Samaria, so like, do they...
Yeah, gosh.
Might go back to Ice Palace and finish that off, but that's...
like, at this point, like, there are plenty of things that Unknown can do at this point that are technically progressive, but not necessarily like, you know, like not necessarily like item progressive. You know, he could beat Skullwoods with the Fire Rod. He could beat Ice Palace with the Fire Rod like a lot more easily. But yeah, just like at that point, it would probably, if he starts doing those kind of item locations, my guess is he probably would have forgotten about Ice Rod Cave at that point. Because it is, you know, there are a lot of item locations in Link to the Past. And, you know, I personally use a map tracker because, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But if
trackers are super handy. I myself haven't used one, but I've had numerous occasions where I have forgotten that one chest, and it's just cost me the run. So if you're kind of new or unsure of what opens up what, then yeah, definitely use a tracker. They come in handy.
And specifically map trackers, you know, keeping track of like the various, you know, item locations, what you have and haven't checked, what you have access to and don't, can make a huge difference. Yeah, here we see Xyrak going into that Argus fight, opting not to go for the zero cycle strat, which is understandable. The zero cycle strat is horribly inconsistent and insanely difficult. But it's a one cycle one. Still looking
pretty good here.
Pretty good. Nailing that silver arrow shot. Just to get some bombs. Not even bombs. The ability to hold more bombs. Fantalis, one of our trackers in chat, pointing out that they do have names. Of course, we're referring to the item tracker programs that you can download and use for your own personal use on your computers, such as Cross Products Tracker, Emo Tracker, Orphis has a tracker, and Pug HUD, etc. But also, just because you know, we haven't said it in a while, huge shout-outs to Fantalis and Tim Lobo for the wonderful job of tracking they've been doing so far.
Yeah, both of their first time tracking, and they've been doing an excellent job keeping up with everything, so props to them.
I feel like, you know, as much as I was you know, singing the praises of the custom sprite creators, I feel like in terms of speed gaming races, the unsung heroes are really the trackers, because man, it helps. It helps to not have to commentate and track at the same time. Makes our life a lot easier, and makes chat's life a lot easier as well, because they get to, you know, have an up-to-date version of what's going on instead of trying to figure it out and missing a bunch of stuff.
Oh, and Unknown is picking up the Canis Maria finally.
Frustration bombs. Oh, man. Yeah, thank goodness he picked that up, though. I guess at this point, yeah, he's kind of saying, okay, well, I see the writing on the wall. It's probably TR. Oh, I think he might have, yeah, he meant to go to Death Mountain, but hit up one too many times. All right, and so as soon as Xyrak finishes this fight right here, that is crystal number 7 down, which means that we have a game to play. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower that can hold the big key. One of those chests will have the big key. Put your guesses in chat to figure out, to try and guess which chest that will be. Sabo, do you have any chests that you are particularly fond of for Ganon's Tower guess?
Let's see. I usually pick chest 11, one of the ones in the rando room there.
Ah, okay. I usually go with 6 because it's my favorite number, because I have no idea why. Favorite numbers
Sometimes you don't need a reason.
Yeah, like, have you ever thought about that? Favorite numbers are really weird things. Like, I remember I found my favorite number by looking at the board of 1 through 10 and just pointing at 6 and saying, that one. That one's my favorite number. Why? I don't know. It just is. And it stuck with me 25 years later, so...
Wow.
Well, actually,
beautiful story.
Probably a little... not quite 25 years. I did not choose my favorite number in the womb. Probably like 20 years. I don't know. So yeah, I'll go with 6. That usually, for me, ends up being upper right in the Stalfos room, but yeah, we'll see here. Looking like saitontea opting to finish off Skull Woods before heading over and grabbing his mirror. So that's crystal number 5 for saitontea at this point.
Yeah, we'll probably head right over to the Mire area, given that that's pretty much all the only location left to check for that mirror. So.
Right. Oh, and I should note, we do have a couple of finishes here in the IRC. Evanitas finishing off the seed in first place with a final time of 132.31. Wow! Chest number 2, that would be why. That is a really fast big key. So there we go, guaranteed to get his small key out of the pot under here to the left, and that is a very quick GT.
It's almost as good as it gets, really. The only better scenario would be the small key, big key in those 2 right side chests.
Exactly. Yeah, that is the quote God GT is small key, big key, but that's still, you know, just big key at all right there is pretty good. Takes all the guesswork out of right side, left side. It's just, well, kind of. You need to actually check those first 2 chests, but... So yeah,
just a quick note, we've got Mentos Man 8 finishing up in second place with a time of 1:33.11. GG's.
Definitely. And if this seed goes like many other randomizer races, I would expect that, you know, we'll have maybe a couple outliers pretty early, and then we're just going to start seeing kind of a flood of dot dones in a few minutes when kind of the bulk of people finish.
Yep.
But for now, I guess we'll point out the gold, silver, and bronze. Mikon finishing in third place with 135.03, and then we'll kind of leave it at that, because I would not be surprised to see a lot of dot dones, even in the short amount of time that Xyrak's going to be making his climb.
Doing really well through the gauntlet so far. Looking really good.
Definitely. Yeah,
this series of rooms can really trip people up, so
yeah,
no trouble for Xyrak here.
It is incredibly difficult to be consistent at gauntlet. Right.
Opting to go with Fire Rod versus the Silver Arrows. Is there any benefit to doing that, one over the other, kind of?
There's a lot more flexibility. You can see here, saitontea just barely missing a 1 cycle on Lanmo 1. But there's a little bit more flexibility to it. If you miss a Silver Arrow on Lanmo 2, or Lanmo in general, you're kind of hosed as far as a 1 cycle goes. But with, like, you can do it, but it's really hard to kind of catch all 3 of them at that point. But with Fire Rod, if you miss a Fire Rod shot, you can kind of make up for it. You can make it work. Not to mention, if you do the traditional speedrun of no major glitches, you will reach Landmola 2 with Tempered Sword and Fire Rod, but no Silver Arrows, so it can just be, you know, muscle memory for NMG runners, and it's pretty much as fast. Just about.
Cool, interesting.
And yeah, that's one reason why having powder is really nice for Ganon's Tower. You get 2 free anti-fairies right before going into Moldorm 2. And making quick work of Moldorm 2. We'll see whether he decides to open that final chest. He does, and vanilla, 20 rupees. I still kind of find it unbelievable that the developers were that mean to put 20 rupees in the final chest of the game, but... Alright, so saitontea on his way to his third and final, or his 7th and final crystal. With mirror in hand, that's gonna be... He's in go mode, so it's gonna be a pretty quick swamp.
And Xyrak takes care of Aga 2 with no problems at all.
Ooh, that's pretty lewd, Xyrak. That's pretty lewd, I gotta say.
So how many slashes is it with the Tempered Sword? I forget at times.
It is 12 slashes for the throwing the spear phase, or the trident, and then 12 slashes for this phase. 1 slash per jump here, so that's 4 slashes for phase 3, and then 4 silver arrows for the final phase, or I think it's 12 silverless hits.
So far, really clean fight. I don't think he's even been hit yet.
Yeah, pretty good so far. Ooh, nice tight double there. I did not even think that was the thing that he was gonna get. I didn't know. I thought he was already at the invulnerability barrier. Nice 2 doubles. Very clean Ganon fight from Xyrak. And wow, here, yeah, like I said, here comes the flood of finishes. Xyrak finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 8 seconds in 8th place. With 5th through, what is that? That's 6th place through 10th place, all within 1 minute of each other. So
it was the kind of seed. It was the kind of seed that that all the kind of top runners were all going to kind of converge at Ganon at the same time, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely, there wasn't a lot of openness available to it. It was kind of that thing where it's like you do things in kind of whatever order, and it's all pretty much gonna even out in terms of time. Like, I guess going to Palace of Darkness early and getting those boots really early could have helped you, but outside of that, I mean, there wasn't a lot you could do to speed up the seed.
Let's see if we can get Xyrak in here to give us his thoughts on the seed here.
Yeah, looks like he is in the waiting room, so let's get him in here. Xyrak, welcome.
Thanks, Cransoon.
Congrats, dude. Congrats on the on being first place in the restream.
Thank you.
And congrats on the top 10 overall.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the item check count is, but considering, you know, whenever you find an item in the last space on the map, that never feels good.
Xyrak,
so
welcome.
Considering that, I'm mostly happy with the way it went.
Congrats, dude. Congrats on the on being first place in the restream.
Thank you.
And congrats on the top 10 overall.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the item check count is, but considering, you know, whenever you find an item in the last space on the map, that never feels good. So considering that, I'm mostly happy with the way it went.
Seems like we had a bit of an echo going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid to speak because I don't know if it's fixed. I think it is now. I don't hear it coming back.
I don't know. Are we good?
I think we're good now. Sorry,
Okay.
that was like an intense.
Seems like we had a bit of an echo going on there.
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid to speak because I don't know if it's fixed.
Oh, God.
Maybe? I think it is now. No. I don't hear it coming back.
I don't know. Are we good?
Okay, so my restream audio is kind of just gone. I don't hear anything, so are we okay now?
Hope so? Question mark. I don't know. Are we good?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna say
so
yes.
now.
Alrighty.
Okay. All right. the timing on that was incredible. It's just like just enough of a delay to be like, yeah, we're totally okay, and then just out of nowhere.
All right.
Back. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, so so what were your thoughts on the stream, or on the run and the race, Xyrak?
Mostly, I'm pretty good. I was mostly happy with my execution overall, aside from Trinex being super sloppy. I was pretty happy with most of the rest of it. Enemies in Thieves Town just wanted to body me that entire time. I don't know what that was about, but every time I took a step, I had 3 enemies in my face, it felt like. But, yeah, as I was climbing Death Mountain for the first time, I was saying to myself, this is stupid, I should be in pod right now. And then, yeah, kind of wish I'd done that, but I mean, considering that, I don't know, I'm pretty happy with the way everything went.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's tough. Pendant pod, I am personally, I'm not a fan of pod in the best of times, let alone when it's a pendant. And especially green pendant, I could definitely see some runners getting in some trouble just, you know, getting the boots and getting Ice Rod and just kind of piecing out. All right, looks like have Unknown in that last phase of Trinex. He is a one-shot from the head. Oh no! And Unknown is down, unfortunately.
Hopefully he has the safety door open.
Yeah, it looks like he did take the safety door indeed, so... Meanwhile, I think Teraunce is just kind of doing some cleanup right now. Beat Thieves Town, which I believe he died to blind early on. And now he's making his way through Skull Woods, just beating that, probably before heading up to Turtle Rock, I imagine.
Probably his only play left, yeah. And then we got Scion going up Ganon's tower, so... So yeah, Xyrak, I guess a pretty straightforward see. There really wasn't a whole heck of a lot that could have trolled you. It just seemed things kind of fell into place. It was kind of a pretty run-of-the-mill kind of seed, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like I said, the green pendant was the last thing on the map for me when I finally did that. So a little disappointed I lost a few minutes, like probably 3 or 4 minutes doing all this Smith stuff mirrorless. Because I didn't really expect the green pendant to turn into much. I kind of expected boots were to get me into desert, and that the book was somewhere in the overworld that I hadn't done yet. So when that didn't wind up actually being the case, I was a little bit surprised. But yeah, it was all pretty linear from there.
Yeah, definitely don't blame you on that. And just based on the times and, you know, the number of finishes and everything, I would imagine that a lot of people kind of left, more or less left the green pendant until the last possible check.
Yeah, no flute and no mirror, and presumably since you would have had to, not presumably, you would have had to have cleared Eastern out already to get your hammer for Dark World access anyway. Mm-hmm. So there was really, it's like, it was just one spot sitting on its own over there. There wasn't really an awful lot of incentive to go over there and turn that in when I had like a nice little couple of routes that dovetail together in terms of doing the Smith stuff and then turning the purple chest into Agonist Cave. Like that was, you know, too attractive a route for me to not do it.
As we see, you got 140 there for chests checked. That's not too bad. And I saw your menu time was just a little bit over 3 minutes, so pretty solid on those two fronts.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it's that low, to be honest. I mean, I guess second chest Ganon's tower, not having to touch Swamp, not having to touch Mire will do that, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Being able to avoid Mire entirely, and especially, I mean, go mode Swamp. Did you open a single chest in Swamp, like at all?
No, I didn't. No, because of the whole, mostly because of the whole Smith stuff, I wanted to save as much time as possible. I didn't even check the second chest in Shed. I opened the first one, got the mirror, and that was it.
Yeah, that's right. And then you just beast out, which I don't blame you for. I mean, having at that point you had what? Blue mail, 15 hearts, you know, half magic, tempered sword, and silvers. It's like, that's pretty good. At that point, you really don't need much. You don't need anything, really.
Yeah, I was like, if a boss drops the butter sword on my head, fantastic, but otherwise, whatever. Because I knew where the red mail was, too, so I even knew that wasn't even a thing, so...
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so speaking of bosses, Saitontea is in the Ganon fight right now. Feel bad we've been kind of glossing over his climb up GT, but he is it's looking like he'll be finishing pretty quick here.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting through it pretty quick. I've got this stream up here myself.
Nice, getting a double there, so it's looking like single, double, single. Pretty good Ganon fight in my book, so... Alright, and with that, Saitontea is going to finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 25 seconds in 19th place. So GG to Saitontea.
Yeah, indeed, GG's.
Alright, so let's see whether Saitontea wants to come in for an interview. Alright, looks like he is in the waiting room, so we're gonna pull him in real quick. Hello, Saitontea. Oh, I pulled him in and he came right back out. Hello, Saitontea.
Hello?
Hello? Hey, GG, sir. Congratulations.
Yeah. GG.
So how'd you feel about that seed?
It's okay, mostly. It's just that I made some mistakes.
Yeah, I think you're the one thing that you kind of missed on was turning in the green pendant there.
Yeah, I figured that I'd try, since I had access to Teraunce, I figured that I might have to find one.
Yeah, definitely. Fire Rod in Turtle Rock is one of those things where it's like it pays out huge if it's there, but it can range from a minor annoyance to like an incredible, you know, a huge setback if you go all the way to Laser Bridge or something.
Yeah.
So were there any particular moments where you felt that you got particularly trolled, other than the fire rod? Anything else about the seed that kind of jumped out at you as weird or unusual?
Nothing particular. It's just a fire rod. After that, like, marrying the certain location.
Yeah,
Right on.
It definitely seemed like that was kind of just more or less the place that everybody was getting funneled to. And besides that, it was all like easy checks or, you know, overworld locations that were pretty quick to find.
Yeah.
So, Xyrak or saitontea, are either of you running in the Key Sanity tournament that's going to be starting up?
No.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Go ahead, Sion.
Yeah, I'm not running the key sanity.
You're not? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not entered into the Key Sanity tournament either. I am doing the NMG tournament coming up in March though, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting how like kind of indirectly and directly the randomizer community has kind of affected the NMG community, or just the traditional speedrunning community for Link to the Past, because I remember hearing that last year they weren't able to necessarily fill up like a very big bracket, and this year they're completely full on like a 128 man bracket for the NMG tournament. So
with like a 50 or 60 person waiting list or something ridiculous as well.
It's great to see, honestly, because you know, NMG is a really cool speed run. It's difficult, but it is so like fulfilling to learn. So and it just helps with randomizer as well.
It is. The other thing that I found nice about when I first started learning it too is that you have the option of there's so many safeties that you can relatively easily route into what you're doing. So if you want to start out, you know, getting half magic or getting red mail or getting a couple of bottles, you know what I mean? Like you can do that without, like, yes, it'll obviously affect your end time, but it's not like a crushing effect on your end time. So you can slowly work those safeties off as you get better and better at doing it too, which is really nice.
Exactly. Like it's almost like kind of imagine an RPG where you're leveling up, except instead of like leveling up your character, you're leveling up your skill and just shedding off those safeties. You know, because I mean, at the beginning, what you get, you could go as far as to get like red mail, mirror shield, half magic, bottles, bug net, powder, you know, all of these safeties, and then by the end you finish the game with, you know, not even Sanctuary Heart. Like you end up with 13 hearts, green mail, and tempered sword, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So it's a really, I think, unique speed game in that it's like so accessible for like new runners, but it also can become really, really difficult at high level, in a good way though.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely the relatively easy to learn, exceptionally difficult to master curve that's really fun to get into.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So with that said, let's look back at our other runners. Unknownavailability currently finishing up Desert Palace. Just gonna have Swamp and Ice Palace left as soon as finishes those up, and then Teraunce on his way through Turtle Rock. He'll just have Desert and Swamp left after that.
Yeah, both in good shape to be finishing up, you know, relatively soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Unknown in Go mode, but Teraunce, not too many places left to check, really, before he hits Go mode.
All right, I'll let you guys wrap it up. So thanks a lot for the commentary, you guys, and thanks to the trackers and to Fiesel for doing everything to put the restream together. It's really appreciated. Thanks.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot for running for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good rest of your night, Xyrak, and GG to you again.
Absolutely, GG's, and GG's to you, Sion.
So Unknown making use of the silver arrows there to take care of Landmos.
Yeah, Silver's Landmo is a lot of fun when you get it. It's just so gratifying, especially considering, you know, on the topic of no major glitches, Landmola is one of the most difficult boss fights in the game. It's just horrible. So it's great to just kind of give him a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, when you walk in there with like fighter sword, you realize just how many hits this guy takes. And with randomizer, you've got your pick usually of sword upgrade or fire rod or any number of ways to take care of him in short order instead.
Exactly, and I mean, and you know, fighter sword is the probably the easiest, most consistent way in the vanilla game, but like the fastest way is just using normal arrows, and it's 4 arrows per landmo, and it's just horribly difficult to try and actually land 4 arrows. Like it's 12 arrows total, and just trying to get it, you know, consistently under maybe a 5 cycle is just extremely difficult. So here we see Unknown making his way back into Ice Palace for a little bit of revenge on Cold Stare. He full cleared it earlier, but he did not have Cane of Samaria, and he also did not have Tempered Sword or Fire Rod. So trying to actually get beat Cold Stare was a bit of a chore. I don't think he even had half magic at that point. Or maybe he did, I don't remember.
No, I don't think so. Or had the half magic but didn't have the fire rod, so it was kind of useless, yeah.
Alright, and Teraunce in the Trynax fight. Alright, so that is first 2 phases done, just that 5 hits on that last phase, and then he'll be completely finished. With Turtle Rock leaving only 2 more dungeons left. Those being some pretty quick ones. Oof. Close, but he made it.
So, Seon, do you have any final thoughts on the seed? We don't want to, keep you waiting around here. So, if you want to take off, feel free. But any other final thoughts on the seed today?
No. Yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward. It's just that one final feature that threw me.
Yeah, that really was a pretty bad troll item for sure. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, I'll be going there.
All right, have a
great.
good rest
Thanks
of your
so
night,
much.
saitontea. And GG once again.
GG's.
Have a good rest of your night. All right, so here we have the rematch of the century, Unknownavailability versus Cold Stare once more. With Fire Rod and Half Magic, this should be significantly safer, faster, and easier than Master Sword and Green Mail. All right, and there it is, Cold Stare down. And with that, so looks like Unknownavailability is going to be making his way to his final crystal in Swamp Palace. Teraunce thinking about his next play. Oh, he hasn't found Mirror yet. Oh, I forgot about that. So yeah, he must have just been thinking about where he hadn't checked yet. So he's going to be hitting his go mode momentarily here. And with Desert and Swamp being his last two dungeons, it will be quick work making his way to Ganon's Tower.
And while we're watching our last two runners finish up here, it's really cool to see that there are runners finishing kind of in the background. Personal bests and things like that. Like all of these kind of newer runners to the community, just kind of finding their way. And it's really cool. We've got Zets, who improved their personal best from 220 down to 205. So 15 minutes shaved off their best time. And that's kind of what it takes. You slowly start to see little changes in your game, and you knock a couple minutes off here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's easy to think when when so much focus is put on like the quote unquote cream of the crop, or like the higher level runners. It's easy to think that like, oh man, you should just be getting these sub 2 hour times just instantly. It should be totally easy, right? And it's like, no, people had to work really hard to actually improve that, and everybody started somewhere. A lot of people, especially in the rando community recently, have are starting kind of from nowhere. Early rando runners were NMG runners who just were interested in the randomizer, but a lot of the newer players coming in these days, they don't have the NMG experience, so they've got to just work their way up. And I personally think it's a really gratifying climb. Just getting, the satisfaction of that first sub 2 and then getting your average down. It's just a really great feeling.
Yeah, I think my first rando run was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4 hours or so, and every like kind of goal that you set for yourself, you start knocking those off, and it's such a great feeling.
Absolutely. And like, I mean, I had a bit of experience with NMG. I wasn't, an incredible runner, but I did have some experience with NMG when I first started, and I think my first rando run was like around 3 hours-ish, something like that. Heck, I remember there was I did a co-op race with Christos Owen, and I proceeded to then die to Ganon for about 20 to 30 minutes. So, yeah. It's definitely a process, that's for sure. But it is a really fun process, in my opinion.
So Teraunce appears to be like somewhat full clearing as he's going, maybe looking for that final sword upgrade or another mail upgrade. Found our book in Desert Palace.
Yeah, it's always fun to see. It's always really fun to see book in desert. I think my personal favorite location is book on the torch. It's just great. Because it's like there's literally like almost no way that's useful, but man, it's fun. It's just one of those things where it's another way that randomizer sort of puts you on your head. You're just like, wait, what? This is I'm supposed to need this, you know, for this dungeon. Kind of like Fire Rod and Ice Palace, or you know, something along those lines. Bow and Palace of Darkness.
I think it's really interesting that like the biggest troll items can be when items are in their vanilla locations, because you never think to go there.
Vanilla, like, I mean, I've heard people joke about you know, the thought of making a seed where it's like all vanilla locations for everything and just handing it to people and being like, look at this randomizer seed, and then it's just all vanilla locations. But I feel like people would, you know, kind of catch on to that after a while. So you need to like switch it up, make it like vanilla bow, and then like you know, maybe put a glove somewhere random, but then like vanilla boots and stuff like that. You know, just switch it up, keep them guessing.
Yep.
And with the customizer, that's an entirely doable process. There is a way to generate custom seeds now. Wow, that sync flute. So Unknownavailability gonna be making his way up Ganon's tower right now. There are 22 chests, and it's gonna be in either chest number 1 or 2.
Throw your guesses in the chat.
Throw your guesses in the chat for anybody just joining us. Pretend that we haven't seen it twice. Yeah, that honestly, that helps so much. Having a fast Ganon's tower layout can really, really help. It's definitely like Ganon's tower is the gatekeeper between, you know, a jet seed and just an alright seed. You know, you can enter Ganon's tower at 110 and be like, man, this could be a sub 120 if I get Ganon's tower big key in the first 2 chests, or it could be like a 130 something if it's tile room, you know.
Yeah, it really can be a make or break between a really fast seed and just kind of an average time.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, you know, the thing I like about the end of Ganon's tower is, you know, once you find that big key, it is all up to you. Like, you kind of can't really blame RNG too much. You can't really blame the randomizer. It is just an execution fest. And while I'm not, you know, that's definitely not my strong suit, it's definitely a fun place to be, because it feels so good when you actually just nail a gauntlet really, really well. You know.
And yeah, practicing that particular part of Ganon's tower is really important, because I mean, at that stage in a race, if you're racing, you know, that can be the difference between, you know, where you finish in the race. Or so yeah, it's a nice area to really practice, because it's something you're going to have to do in every single run.
Exactly. And I mean, even in like, that's one of the places where I think No Major Glitches has the most crossover. Because most of the time you're probably gonna have Tempered Sword, you're gonna have bow, maybe silvers, but you know, there's just a lot of crossover there. So it definitely, that's end game in general, just Ganon's tower as a whole. If you're gonna choose one dungeon to practice ever, if you have to choose only one place and you never practice anything else in this game, practice Ganon's tower, because Ganon's tower is the same in almost every run, and getting better at GT will make you better at the whole game in general.
Yeah, because it really tests like everything that you've learned up to that point. So yeah, it definitely has applications in the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, it may basically be a ROM hack, but, you know, whatever. At least it feels like it is. Ooh, oh, Unknown taking an unfortunate death in Mimics 2 there. Had some trouble in the first room.
Yeah, couldn't quite get the positioning of the Mimics right, and they kind of knocked him around a bit.
Yeah, it can. The issue with mimics is it's, you know, it can be fine. You know, usually you'll have, you know, strats that you use and that you're comfortable with. But if you mess up that strat that you're used to, actually trying to recover, and, you know, take them out can be really, really difficult depending on the way in which they're out of position, especially if you're not, you know, kind of used to improvising mimics.
Meanwhile, Teraunce is coming up on Argus here, and that'll be their last crystal, so very exciting.
There are 22 chests. I like saying that way too much. I don't know why I like saying that phrase so much today, but here we are. Okay, all right, nice. Looks like Unknown is going to make it into those safety fairies.
Keeping that bomb as far away from him as possible.
Yeah, don't blame him. I mean, he would have survived the bomb blast, but if he got a bomb blast into a fall in the pit, then he would have to do mimics all over again. So yeah, this room can be pretty rough, especially with like sword beams. This is one situation where like you really see why top level runners dislike sword beams. I remember when I started running this game, I was like, I actually like sword beams. I don't understand all the hate for it. And then I started doing like Ganon's tower practice really hardcore, and I started doing Gauntlet. And if I had sword beams, I was like, man, I hate this. This is a bad time. I'm having a bad time right now because it just lags the room so badly. And we also get to see that wonderful mirror shield at work here. Doing nothing on the BMOS for no apparent reason. But
yeah, you think it would reflect it back or
right?
something, but it just
like
does
anything.
nothing.
It's actually, besides those eye lasers, it's actually useless. All right, so seeing an interesting thing here on Unknown side. So fun fact, if you stop and powder that fairy in the room before Landmolas, you actually, all Landmolas will spawn at the same time. So that's why a lot of times, even at low health, a lot of runners will kind of opt to avoid even going for that fairy. They'll take the risk because it can really make it difficult to one cycle Landmo 2 if you have them all spawning at once like that. Potentially impossible, depending on how close together they spawn.
Yeah, it can slow things down. I gotta say, I'm a sucker for picking up that fairy though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're at like a heart or two, you know, it's not too difficult to just accidentally take you know, couple hits from the laser ball or from the fireball, and then like a thing about Landmola 2 that's really annoying is because of the sprite limit on the SNES, you will potentially have a situation where those little rocks that Landmola spits out into diagonal directions will be, the hitboxes are active, but the actual sprite is not on screen. So you can literally get hit by what appears to be nothing and die. I have died that way before in that fight where I'm like, okay, I killed him, we're all good, and then just suddenly dead for apparently no reason.
That is a rough way to go for sure.
Yeah,
not knowing what happened to you.
Exactly. Like I'm happy now that I know that, you know, they can be invisible. It's something I can try and account for, but man, I was confused and upset when I first died that way.
Thanks for following Xyrak. Welcome to the Dargonestian crew.
Looks like we got a nice little follow alert there. All right, Unknown on his way to Aghanim 2. He's on his way out as Teraunce is on his way in. Oh no, this room is like sometimes the easiest and sometimes the most difficult room in the game. If you just nail a dash right up the center, it's easy every time. But if you mistime that or about hit a bumper, like, oh man.
Yeah, you're in for a world of hurt.
I think my one of my favorite clips of Link to the Past ever was TGH on like a 126 pace run dying in that room. in an NMG speed run. He died in that room.
No.
It just it's a great clip, man. I wonder if I don't know if anybody in chat has access to that clip, but man, it's worth a watch. It's incredible. The slow descent into madness. Oh yeah, interesting. Teraunce grabbing that red mail for Ganon's tower. Definitely not a bad idea. If you know where it is and you know, you want a little extra safety, definitely not a bad idea.
And just as Unknown is getting ready to take on Ganon, I'll quickly mention what our schedule is for tomorrow. We've got the standard weekly race is going to be the 3 p.m. Slot, instead of the usual 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 8 p.m. race is going to be an entrance, Madness, plus Ganon, plus Quick Swap items. So that one is going to be kind of intense. And then at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the Key Sanity race for the day. The Restream channel hasn't been put up yet, but it'll be on one of the 4 speed gaming channels for you to check out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're not already following all 4 speed gaming channels, I'm assuming we're on Speed Gaming 3 right now. So I'm assuming everybody here is at least, you know, following a couple of them. But if you're not following all 4 speed gaming channels, be sure to do that, because there's some really great content on all 4 of them, and not just randomizer specific, or even or not just Link to the Past specific, but not even randomizer specific. There's some really great tournaments that happen here, so definitely check that out. You might be surprised by how much you enjoy, you know, other stuff.
Unknown's got to be careful here with the health. I don't know if he's got potions. I'm hoping that they do. Down to just the last heart here.
Ooh, unfortunately, another death for Unknown. Yeah, the Ganon fight, not the best fight. It can be really tough, although is... Oh, there we go. I was like, did Unknown just freeze his emulator, I'm assuming? Yeah, it's unfortunate because you know, if he had the bug net or something like that, he could catch a few fairies, but unfortunately not so much can happen at this point. But it looks like he is going to make his way over to probably grab a couple potions, which, you know, totally makes sense.
Yeah, it's not an easy fight, and if you've got nothing in your pots there, then grabbing a couple of potions is a good bet.
Definitely. I mean, you know, he's got the money for it, and he's got the bottles for it. So I like. It's one of those things, especially the first two phases. Even with red mail, honestly, it's so easy to just tank a ridiculous amount of damage in the Ganon fight. Depending on the RNG and how you handle it, it can really be big, or it can really be tough and just easy to tank hits. So.
You rock west and abandoned. Welcome to the Inraiders.
Looks like we got another follow announcement there or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's Teraunce showing off the weird hitbox of the fire rod. If you stand too close to the torch, then it won't light, because the hitbox of the torch is only like after the end of the fire rod itself. It's kind of a weird little detail. Nice, good timing on that blue potion for Unknown right there. And since he stocked up on so many of them, he definitely has plenty to use. Nice, using the hookshot invulnerability frames right there.
That lower right Ganon spot is a bit of a tricky one to get a lot of hits in, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's probably my favorite spot, but I can't tell whether it's because it's actually the easiest for me or if it's just like I'm so used to it, you know?
Ah, what's the strat on that one to make it work better for you?
If he's in the lower right, well, actually, wait, is it lower right with 2 spaces to the bottom wall, or is it the 1 space to the bottom wall?
Oh, that is too specific for me.
Okay, because if it's 2 spaces to the bottom wall, if he's like right on the torch, then you just kind of wedge yourself in between the wall and the torch, and you just sort of like smack into him, you know, just a ton, bouncing off of it. You can get a pretty easy what is it? Oh no! Oh, so unfortunate. Unknown falling to Ganon. That is
wow.
That is tough.
Ooh. Teraunce with the ultimate comeback here. He's gonna make it kind of a race here.
Yeah, he's been just slow, you know, like I shouldn't say that, slow and steady, but he's been making very steady progress through Ganon's Tower, opting for like, you know, quote unquote less optimal strats, but significantly like more consistent strats, like using bombos in gauntlet rooms. So it you know, it's not as fast optimally as other strats, but like it's just really, really consistent. You know that you're gonna kill everything immediately. So yeah, this is gonna end up being pretty close here, because it looks like we're probably gonna get Teraunce entering the Ganon fight at a relatively similar time to Unknown.
And having picked up that red mail, Teraunce is going to be able to take a little bit more damage from Ganon here.
Yeah, true. Although Unknown does have those potions, I don't know that Teraunce ever stocked up on potions. I didn't really catch it. Yeah, so like right here, if you time your slashes correctly, you can can just kind of rebound and get a ton of hits on Ganon without taking damage from the bats, but the timing is pretty specific there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he has that one blue potion left. Good. And he did make it to phase 3, so health shouldn't be a huge issue here. It's mostly just avoiding falling. That's really, in phase 3 and 4, the big thing is just don't fall most of the time.
Yep.
And ideally, you want to avoid those fire bats from spawning. If you hit him quickly enough, those fire bats won't spawn at all, which is pretty nice.
Teraunce opting for the very safe but very slow Cane of Burna strat there.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily slow because of the invincibility, it's just slow because of the lag. Oh my goodness.
I don't think there's much else that slows the game down quite as much as that particular sequence.
Yeah. And there we have it. Unknownavailability finishing off Ganon, staying nice and far away from the edge so that he will not fall in the pit. GG. And there we go. We have Unknownavailability finishing with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 5 seconds in 52nd place. GG to Unknown. All right, and close behind him, we have Teraunce. Like you said, ultimate comeback right now. He's on phase 4 of the Ganon fight right now. Should be totally fine just as long as... Oh, he has a blue potion. So yeah, not even magic can really hold him back at this point. It's just don't fall off the ledge. And just get one hit at a time.
Hey, GG Unknown.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put the first G in there, but it was definitely a game.
Oh no, Teraunce with the fall on the last hit of Ganon. Oh god.
Oh,
no.
It sounds like there's more woes than just me.
Oh yeah,
man.
it wasn't just you. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Man.
no, definitely not. It was a seed, that's for sure.
I felt like I made some great early plays. I feel like I probably had the hammer before anybody else. So I know I made some good plays in the beginning, but there for a while I just lost where to go, and I realized I forgot Ice Rod Cave, and of course that was the Cane of Samaria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one time that it actually has something. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that was just like, where am I missing this Cane? I know I've got to go to Turtle Rock. Where am I missing this Cane? I think that tilted me just enough to where I just lost it and like died to Teraunce. Started just, oh god, just biggest snowball I've ever done. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully you did have the safety exit for Teraunce, so it wasn't a massive time loss or anything.
Yeah, after the second death, I was like, all right, let's do a safety exit now, finally. Oh,
But
man.
yeah, I think you're right though. You were maybe the first runner on stream to have the hammer for sure. So you were out in front for a little while there. Just yeah, a little too bad that you kind of maybe lost the trail a little bit.
Yeah, it was all that Ice Rod Cave, not getting that cane, because I know having the hammer like I did, I ended up being able to get bow right away. I didn't have to worry about coming back for it. Like, the routing in the beginning was super solid, and then everything just started falling when I couldn't find that cane. And I'm like, I know where I need to go, I just don't know where to go first to get to where I need to go.
Yeah, exactly. That can be a tough thing when it just ends up being that one item and you're just like, okay, I know where I should go here because I have all pieces of the puzzle except this last one, but where is that last freaking piece?
Yeah, and of course I'm sitting there trying to put a square in a circle hole and it wasn't working. And I went for that armor too, and I went up there and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get an armor upgrade. That's great. I'm not gonna have green mail and dark world anymore. I don't have the mirror.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was unfortunate. Okay. Teraunce just barely avoiding a fire bat to hit him off again.
Oh man.
So nice getting a second hit in there. Only 2 more hits left and he is GG. Let's see.
Come on, Teraunce. I just popped in. I'm watching now.
All right. Oh, just barely missed hit number 3.
God.
It's all about that magic. I don't know if he has blue potions left. If he's using Fire Rod like this, I have to assume he does.
Ooh.
Because he... well, looks like it does not matter, because he nailed that last hit, and there we go.
Good job, yeah.
GG to Teraunce.
Good job.
Finishing with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 35 minutes, and 11 seconds in 54th place. GG. So, unfortunately, we are gonna have to probably cut the stream there. Do have work in about 9 hours, so I should probably get going. But yeah, that has been the Open Daily. And yeah,
any final thoughts there, Unknown?
Yeah, just a couple of definitely follow the runners, guys, all of them. I mean, don't worry about me. I'm just trash. But follow Cranston, Sabotender, follow the trackers. I don't know who was doing it today, but follow all these guys because they're definitely volunteering their time, guys. They're fantastic people. They're all wonderful. And if you want to do this kind of stuff, even though I didn't make a great representation, get into the Discord and enjoy yourself because this is one of the best games to run ever. So, fantastic.
All right, couldn't have said it better myself. Definitely, yeah, absolutely give all of the runners on stream tonight a follow, including Unknown. And if you're feeling particularly generous, maybe follow the commentators or the trackers as well. But yeah, with that, we are going to be out for the night. I believe Sabotender, you already covered the schedule for tomorrow. Yep. Next thing for Randomizer is the standard weekly race at 3 p.m. Eastern on a to be determined restream channel. So yeah, be sure to catch that. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Have a good night, everybody.